Hey guys, we have Ben Azadi talking about the keto flex, intermittent fasting tips, and lots more. So, question number one.
I love that you said that. I feel the same exact way. So, one of the things that you talked about that I wanted to ask you about was the hydrogen water first, of what is that? And I want you to expand a little bit more on how women and men are different when it comes to fasting. So if you're coaching somebody who's a woman versus a man, what are kind of those differences?
Yeah, so I'll tackle the first question first. Hydrogen water is terrific. It's a great, if you want to call it a biohack, it's water that has been infused with hydrogen. Hydrogen is the first element on the periodic table, and it's there because it's very small. And the reason that's a benefit is because the fact that it's such a small element, it has the ability to cross your cell membranes, and it's been called a selective antioxidant. So it could turn on longevity genes and downregulate bad genes. So it helps with inflammation. There's also over 1,000 studies, a combination of human and animal studies, but over 1,000 studies currently on hydrogen water, how it helps with type 2 diabetes, how it stimulates ghrelin. So it helps actually with your brain and mental clarity and mental performance. It also could help with your gut function. So I drink hydrogen water first thing in the morning, and throughout the day, I also give it to my dog. I feel really good. It's also really important to take it when you're traveling. It's going to help with jet lag. It doesn't taste like anything, but I know that it's doing some good things. And there's some great studies out there if you just go on PubMed or these websites to kind of see what hydrogen's doing for you. So it's a selective antioxidant, and that's why I love it. The next question was about how should women do fasting differently than men? As you know, and you teach this, it should be done differently. Men have a 24-hour hormone cycle, and women who are menstruating have a 28-day hormonal cycle, and postmenopausal women have a different cycle as well. So those three people, different types of people, different types of balancing hormones should do a different type of approach. Men could get away with more aggressive fasting protocols because we have that 24-hour period where our hormones are kind of recycling, if you will. And that's why a lot of men, as you probably have seen, get faster results when they do fasting and keto, because they could be more aggressive. They don't have to worry about their menstrual cycle or their ovaries are shut down, so their adrenals are picking up the slack. We don't have to worry about that. So I'm grateful for that. Now, a menstruating woman, so a woman who has a monthly cycle, the most important week to pay attention to is the 5 to 7 days before the period. So it's recommended that you track your cycle. And if you know your period is going to come in 7 days from now, those 7 days preceding your period is the 7 days you don't want to do too much fasting because you want to build progesterone. And progesterone is that hormone that tells you everything's all right, you're calm, and it helps keep estrogen in check. Those two hormones, estrogen and progesterone, are typically very low the 7 days before the period. And if you do a lot of fasting and a lot of keto, you will deplete those hormones even further, which will lead to cravings during that week for carbohydrates and sugar, and it could lead to an irregular cycle, heavy menstrual cycle. So the best time to practice fasting is not that week. We want to maybe cap our fasting schedule not beyond 14 hours, those 7 days. Once your period starts, you have your full bleed. That week is the best week to be more aggressive with your fasting schedule. If you want to do a 48-hour fast, that would be the week to do it. If you want to do a block fast, 3 or more days, that will be the week to do it because your hormones, you're doing it according to your cycle. So that's the menstruating women. Now, the postmenopausal women, you still want to have a balance because fasting is a stress to the body, and it's a great stress that forces the body to adapt and great things happen, which is called hormesis. But when a woman is now postmenopausal, the ovaries have retired. They've said, peace out, I've done my work. So the ovaries shut down, and now the adrenal glands pick up the slack. So this is the time you want to do a lot of methods to kind of master your stress. And if you do a lot of fasting at this time, it could tax your adrenals, especially if your stress bucket is overflowing. So you do want to balance out your fasting and your feasting during your postmenopausal phase. And how you could simply do that is maybe just throw in, if you're doing like an 18-hour fast every day, maybe you just have 1 day per week where you don't do any fasting and you just reset things and you have your breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Of course, in the book, Keto Flex, I go a little bit deeper and I give you a week by week breakdown. But in general, those are the ways to do it, men versus women.
Hey guys, if you want to try one of these necklaces, if you want to try any of these EMF tools,
go to essentialenergy.us and use coupon code Chantel Ray for a huge discount. That's essentialenergy.us.
So you guys know I've interviewed women all across the country that have been naturally thin their whole life with no dieting, no gimmicks. I interviewed over 1,000 women. I asked them, what'd you eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? And they told me everything. And so I actually have written 4 books now with all of these insights. I have put their secrets all right there. And so if you're tired of just the diet roller coaster and you just cannot lose that weight, I have a book called Waste Away. That's the very first one. That's how I break down how I discovered intermittent fasting, how it changed my body, and how thin eaters, they don't even call it intermittent fasting. They just do it. Fasting to Freedom is another book I wrote. It goes deeper. It's more into the spiritual and emotional side of fasting. It brings clarity and confidence, and it really kind of teaches you how to do a little bit longer fasting. Then I have One Meal and a Tasting. It's my most practical guide. It just walks you step by step through how you can live a sustainable fasting lifestyle and literally the exact things that these women did while enjoying the foods you love. And then finally, a Bible study that's called Freedom from Food. And this is like a 6-week study that you can do with a group of friends. It's really fun to do with a group. These books are the complete bundle. So if you go to chantelrayway.com, we're actually doing one free giveaway for the complete bundle. So if you go to our Facebook group, it's the Intermittent Fasting and OMAD group. Make sure you join. We're going to do a free contest for a free bundle for one lucky person. But if you want it right away, just grab the free bundle. It's the cheapest it's ever been because we want you to get your breakthrough, your body, your rules, your breakthrough. chantelrayway.com. So question number 2.
let's talk about if people are in a rut, because I do get some emails all the time that are like, I've lost a bunch of weight and now I'm in a little bit of a rut. What are some things that they can do to kind of give them a jolt of like extreme weight loss where they can kind of feel like, okay, I need like that little boost right now to get me on the right track?
Yeah, I get those emails too. I'm sure somebody listening is like, yeah, what's the answer here? Well, the first thing is to revisit the fundamentals of health and make sure those are rock solid. And that's going to be sleep. Your body burns most of its fat burning hormones are activated, I should say, during delta stage 4 deep sleep. So you want to make sure you're getting good quality sleep. And I would quantify that as 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep. Maybe you're using a sleep tracker to make sure you're getting enough REM sleep and deep sleep. I use the Oura Ring. So it's not just the total amount of sleep you're getting, but the quality. It's that deep delta sleep where you're activating a lot of your fat burning hormones. The brain is detoxifying. So make sure you're getting quality sleep. If you hit a plateau, you're in a rut, look at your sleep. And if it's not optimal, work on your sleep. Number 2, which is another fundamental of health, is your stress. How are your stress levels? Is your job just creating so much stress in your life, relationships, finances? Find ways to filter that stress into positive energy. It's easier said than done, but we want to make sure we're mastering that stress. Once you got that down pat, then we want to focus on movement. Not necessarily exercise. Exercise is great, but movement. So maybe you make it a goal to get 10,000 steps every single day. And even the best thing to do after eating a meal is actually to go for a walk. It's going to help you with fat loss. It's going to help with that postprandial glucose. So maybe adopt the habit of a 10 to 15 minute walk after your meals and aim to get 10,000 steps per day. Now, let's say you're doing all that and you're still in a rut. The next thing to do is to mix it up. Just like a great personal trainer that you hire is always going to change up the workout for you. What would happen if he gave you the same workout routine every single week? You would begin to plateau and you would be in a rut. So a smart personal trainer knows, I want to keep the body guessing. I want to keep the body adapting. This week, we're going to do high rep and low weight. The next week, we're going to do low rep and high weight. We're going to change the workouts. We're going to hit different angles. So it's the same thing with your fasting schedule. I'm not a big fan of having the same schedule every single day. I like to mix things up. So if you're doing 16-8 every single day of a fast, maybe you want to throw in a 24-hour fast once per week, or maybe you want to change that to 18-6 instead of a 16-8. Or maybe you're doing too much fasting and you want to have a couple of days where you're not fasting. So that's a perfect example right there. Mix it up and change it up. And if you're doing keto, it might be a time to start flexing out or just change your foods that you're eating. Every time you change, the body has to adapt. This is called hormesis, and it creates a positive stress because good cells get stronger when you force a stress and bad cells don't adapt. So it's like survival of the fittest. So that would be my recommendation for those in a rut, and focus on health, not necessarily weight loss. The body needs to get healthy to lose the weight, not necessarily lose weight to get healthy.
And question number 3.
What are some of your kind of favorite products for fasting and keto? Do you have any that you're like, this really helps me take it to the next level?
The hydrogen water for sure. And it could be either like a machine you use. I have a machine, or it could be those tablets, but hydrogen water could help support autophagy, which is that cellular repair and cleanup during fasting. Electrolytes are very, very important, getting those minerals in. There's a few brands and companies that I use, but using electrolytes during your fast is great. And then binders could help, especially if somebody's really toxic. If they have a lot of toxicity, as you know, toxins get stored in your body fat. And that's a survival mechanism that the body has adopted over the years, which is really amazing. Your body is so smart, it wants to survive. So when toxins enter the body from breathing, eating, and touching your skin, the body activates a pathway called PPARY, and it shuttles those toxins away from your vital organs into your fat cells. It actually could enlarge fat cells, or even sometimes create new fat cells for those toxins to go live in, because toxins love fat. When you're fasting, especially longer fast, you're going to start to burn body fat, shrink fat cells, and release those fat cells, which is terrific. But if you have a lot of toxins, you'll dump these toxins, and the body cannot burn toxins, but it can burn back fat cells. So you might feel like crap during a fast, especially a longer fast. So binders could be a great thing that you take to help eliminate some of those toxins that are being released. So those are a few things if you want to take your fasting to a next level. Hydrogen water, electrolytes, and some really quality binders could really enhance your fasting results.
Let's talk about that a little bit more, because I don't think we've emphasized that enough as a fasting community. Because for me, what I've realized, like on days where maybe I have taken a lot of magnesium, maybe I've taken a binder, maybe I've just really had a lot of elimination for whatever reason, the way that I feel on those days is completely different. And so like, I don't know if this has ever happened to you, and this is kind of gross, but we can talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. But like about 30 to 45 minutes before I have to poop, I already know, like maybe it's even probably like 15 to 30 minutes, but I start feeling bad almost. And it's kind of like the toxins are building up too much. And then let's say I go poop, and then it's like I feel like a new woman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that what happens is a lot of times people fast, and then part of it is that they've got all this buildup. They're feeling really bad, and they don't realize that how important elimination is, that it then has you feel bad. And then you think, oh, it's the fasting that's making you feel bad, instead of, okay, I've got to eliminate. That's the real problem. Can you expand on that at all?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a lot of people have a lot of toxins. We live in the most toxic world than ever before, and we bioaccumulate these toxins. Like I said, a lot of them are stored in your fat cells. So fasting is not necessarily the problem here. It's the fact that you have a lot of toxins and you don't have a protocol in place. So having a protocol in place is essential, and you want to make sure that you're eliminating during your fast, because that's a great way to eliminate some of those toxins. Sweating is also a great way to do it. Urination is a great way to do it. Another little hack that just came to mind is like a castor oil pack during your fast. That could be terrific, where you just add a little pack around your liver, put the castor oil, you sleep in that. That'll help detoxify your liver, and that should also help you feel better during the fast. The body will adapt, and as you get those toxins out, you're going to feel so much better. Like you just said, Chantel, after you eliminate, you feel so much better. So I wouldn't necessarily blame it on the fasting. I would blame it on a lack of structure. So having these tools and just being aware of it, maybe you start to incorporate one or two things we're mentioning here. Maybe you incorporate it all. I believe it'll make a big difference for your fasting schedule and for your results. And you just feel better in general, because we want to make sure we're eliminating a lot of these toxins that have accumulated in our fat cells.